Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to go over how I made this inside of Blender and Photoshop. And it's pretty much we're going to do the exact same thing as what we did last week. I'm going to open up my Blender file, just show you my scene, and then we'll also look into my Photoshop file and just see how I built it up. And this piece right here was pretty much an experimental piece. Like I wanted to see how much I can make in just one day. Like everything that I made in this painting, I just spent one day on it. And so the main inspiration for this piece was that I don't really know what I was going for. I just opened up FilmGrab. It's a free website where you can get like different movie shots, and I just picked random movie shots that I liked and I just used those as an inspiration. I made something. And I was specifically looking for like, cool lighting setups, cool composition, and just thought I could use that information, just make something that's like my own. And honestly, I feel like doing something like this is so helpful and important in the beginning stages, because then it gives you a goal that you can work towards, right? Coming up with a painting just from your imagination can be like really hard and daunting, and so it's always nice to look at some movies and just anything that'll inspire you to make something cool. And so the reference image that I used for making this was this right here, and I forgot the name of the movie, but I feel like it had a really cool mood. We had this really nice green lighting coming from the side, and instead of having like zombies around some table, I thought maybe I can like change the narrative and make it into something else while using this lighting setup. Like I did spend like a good time just browsing for assets that I wanted to include in my scene, which definitely saved a lot of time. I tried to just model a few things here and there, but nothing super major. I wanted to just see if I can like how far I can get with just using these assets right here. But the other thing is also important is that you don't look for the assets first and then make a piece. It's always nice to have an idea first, and then you search for an asset that you can put into that. So yeah, let's go ahead, look at our Blender file, and I'm gonna show you how I made this piece pretty much. And it was really not that difficult. Hey guys, so here is the Blender file right here. You can see it looks, yeah, just that's what it is. And so pretty much when you're making scenes like these, you want to design for the shot, right? Like it was unnecessary for me to like create like a fully fledged layout of a room. I just wanted to match the reference, like in the reference image right here. Like there's a door opening, there's this wall up here, some stuff up here, another wall here. So I kind of just like followed that, that pattern, that rhythm, and then I changed this area pretty much for the most part. And so the narrative that I was going for is that, okay, maybe this is a scene where a little fight happened and this lady was victorious, and then we got these men that are just on the floor. Now these models up here, I got these from Mixamo.com. If you don't know what Mixamo is, it's a really cool website where you literally get characters, like models and animations of characters. And so like, for example, this guy, I can just write, I don't know, dead. So I use one of these like zombie deaths. They're pretty cool. Like this one, zombie dying. Like, yeah, something like that. And then of course you can like tweak it a little bit, but you just find a frame that you like, and then you can just download it and save it, right? And then you can import it as an FBX. So after downloading it, you can go up here to File, Import, FBX. I'll just import a random one. For example, this one. Alright, so it's that same character. And so the animation that I choose for her was, like talking on the phone or something. And you can just like search it up here and you can get something close to it. So it's got characters up here. You can change your character as well. You can search it. They've got like a massive library. Some of them are pretty good. Some of them are pretty wacky looking. So just like look for one that works for you. In my case, I always paint over them anyway, so it doesn't really like affect me that much. But it downloads it with some keyframe animation. So like when I play it, there's like a whole ass animation happening. And so once you like a shot, then what you can do is you can select all your keyframes and just like delete them. And then now you have like a, you have like a pose pretty much. Okay. The same thing I did for the guys that are on the floor as well. Just open this up a little bit. Like these guys. And so the scene that I wanted, so everything else, like on the floor, let's go ahead and put it on review mode so that I can show you guys my textures pretty much. Like, this was a very quick scene. It didn't take me that long. A lot of the assets were downloaded here. Like, I don't think I made a whole lot of stuff, and it's okay, you know, when you're practicing, it's okay to do these little studies like that. Because you know, if you gotta think about it, when you're working as a concept artist, you don't really have to model everything from scratch. I mean, you're gonna be wasting time if you're modeling like every single chair, every single piece of wall, every single prop, you know, because it's just there. I mean, if it's not adding a whole lot to your story, you don't want to waste your time doing all that. And so that's what I wanted to do. Now, some of this texturing up here, like all the blood and stuff, this was pretty interesting the way that I did it. So there were two textures. Let's go to shader editor. Okay, let's look at this right here. So pretty much I had a texture for the floor from Quixel Megascans, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, this right here, this was an extra thing that I added. So pretty much what this is there's like a grunge image, like a grunge texture, and just use any of these. I think I used this one right here, I don't quite remember, but what it does is that all the black area, I want that to be replaced by the color red, kind of just showing like red splatter of blood. And so the way we did it, like I attached a color ramp up here, and then I had two colors. Like you can, like, by default it's on black and white, right? And then you can change those colors. And so that's what I did. And if you click, you can always like add more shades. So like we can tweak this more a little bit. You know, this is really like I really want to like make something weird and creepy. But the closer you get, you know, you just have to play around with it pretty much. Just something like this worked pretty well because I kind of wanted to like limit the texture to only areas where I had these people on the floor. It still overdid a lot of it, like there's still so much up here, but I ended up painting over a lot of it in my final design, the final painting. And then I just pretty much used that same texture on the wall up here and on the cabinets as well. And then, you know, if you attach a if you hit Control-C, you'll add a mapping node to it, then you can like play around with the scaling and the location of your texture as well. Like right now I was doing it on the cabinet because I had that selected. For example, if I select this, you can go up here, you know, change the placement, right? You can change the scale of everything as well. I mean, if you want to like 0.5 or something. So, you know, it's one of those things you can play around with, but pretty much that's what it was. And then this right here is the node, is the base color. And then this is the texture, and these are going into a mix node. You're gonna hit Shift A, color, mix color. And then you just attach two of these nodes up here. For example, like this can go up here, and this can go up here. And then you can like change the blend mode of it. So like color burn. So I chose color burn, that worked the best in my case. So you just have to like check and see which one works the best for you. The same thing. So that kind of like mixes those two image textures together. That was it for the walls and the floor, for the bloody floor and stuff. And like all of this stuff up here, like this table, chair, and things like that. These were some of the assets that I got from Leo Aviero's Patreon. And but if you were to model this from scratch, it's really not that difficult. Just like spend a day on it. It's like simple poly modeling. Probably use some cubes, extrude them out. But yeah, that's what I did. I just, you know, downloaded a bunch of different models, and I was just trying to see like how far I can push this scene pretty much. And it's a really good practice. And also definitely looking at my like, you know, camera as well, like my render scene. Now for the cabinets and the blinds and stuff, there's a cool add-on inside of Blender. It's called Archimesh. You have to enable it under, let's see, preference. Yeah, just enable that. And then it's under the create tab. And then here you can like create literally like windows, shelves, cabinets, stairs. Like if I chose cabinet right here, it'll give me cabinet of some sort. think it's down here pretty much. And so it's very generic looking, so it's good. If it's something that's just in the background, it's pretty good for that kind of stuff. And you can always, like, you know, further, if you want to like customize it, you can definitely do that as well. There you go. Maybe you can add an edge loop up here. Control B. You can like customize it a little bit. Maybe you can like take this then. Shift D. Oh, this one won't move. Oh, there you go. This can be another one right here. So it's a nice starting point, right? Same thing for the windows as well. There's the option of like these blinds and stuff, like right here. If you go to like roller curtains, here. So you got these curtains right here. And they have like a displacement map build, which is pretty much transparent. Works pretty well for that. And there was one for the blinds as well. I can't find it. Yeah, Venetian blinds right here. Okay, there you go. So you got blinds up here. You can use that. You know, so it's pretty cool. You know, it's got some like basic house things up here. And then these right here, these, you know, these bottles and bowls and stuff, these are all like downloaded as well. It's from Leo Viewers Pack, his Patreon. It's pretty cool. He has a lot of free stuff up there. And this microwave and all this, I downloaded those as well. So like pretty much downloaded everything, if I'm being honest with you. And because like I said, you know, I wanted to see how much I can make in one day, you know. And so definitely it's something that you can definitely play around with and just, you know, practice stuff. This is mainly for practice purposes, pretty much. And also because like I see a lot of people on like ArtStation doing these like daily studies, daily paintings, and literally all of them use like assets. They don't make anything from scratch. You know, they might make a thing or two from scratch, but then other than that, they're either like photo bashing or either like downloading models. And if you think about it, downloading models in a way is similar to photo bashing, right? Because in photos, when you're photo bashing, you're using image textures pretty much, which is the same thing. And in a 3D space, you're downloading 3D models. So you have to have that sort of perspective when working on this. Okay. So the next thing that I wanted to tackle was lighting, right? So with lighting, I had 2 spotlights right here, and I'm actually gonna go to my render mode for this so that I can properly show it to you guys. So, and also like when you're setting up your lights, look at it from like your camera's perspective as well. Like where is it hitting, you know? Because our main interest is this character and everything else around. It kind of has to like, you know, there needs to be like a rhythm of some sort. Like I'm having like these people pointed in such a way where like your eye leads you back to this character. Okay, so let's go back. And then by default, when you add a spotlight, the intensity is like very low, like the power is very low. It's like 10 or something. And so let's say if it's like 10, right? It's barely even there at that point. So you really have to like increase it. Like I definitely do for it pretty much. And so I wanted to have this light come through the window a little bit and a little bit on the side as well. And then I made a copy of this light up here just to have like a slight, you know, slight bounce on these cabinets. Because when this light wasn't there, let me show you what it looked like. Let's hide this for now. Show you before and after. So this is with that light and this is without. You see how dark it got up there suddenly, and there's like this hard edge up here, and I didn't really like that. That's why I ended up putting another light up here so that it's a little bit more balanced, you know. And then that was it for the lighting, honestly. That was literally it. And I think I had, let me see it, I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, so I didn't even put we did put a ceiling. It was making everything like super dark again, and you know, it's fine. We don't really need a ceiling in the shot because it's not in the scene, right? So I don't really have to like add it to the scene. So that's how I made this. This was pretty much the Blender part for this, and you know, it was nothing crazy, just a small scene, small area, small environment, you know. And something like this is doable in a day pretty much, especially when you're just learning and practicing. And the best way to approach it is that have an idea in your mind and then just like download some assets and then make a scene and then learn from it, right? And for me, mainly, I wanted to pretty much just like get better at the whole Photoshop and Blender process, right? So the render right now, it looked like this, but there's still a little bit of like things, like there's a lot of blood splatter here. I wanted a little bit more painterly strokes here with a little bit more of blood. And then, for some reason, Mixamo characters are just way too shiny. So I painted over that as well. So this was a 3D render. So let's look at the Photoshop part for this. Next. Here's a Photoshop file. This was the final painting that I did. And this is a 3D render. This is the final. So you see the difference? It's like, it's a big difference, but not a lot at the same time, if you know what I mean. So let's go ahead and break this down. Like, how did I get to this part? Right now, let's go ahead. I'm gonna hide this layer right here, this and this. Okay, now the first thing that I did was I ended up lightening this part a little bit, because you know what, this area was just not readable at all. It just looks like a big black mushy area, like all the values are just getting messed up, like there wasn't like a clear separation. And so I ended up like brightening it up a little bit so that we can actually at least see in the beginning that, hey, this is a chair, that's the table, there's a dude lying up here. With this turned off, it was just like, super dark. And the same goes for this area as well. It was like, really dark. And when you're like up close, you can see it, right? When you zoom out, it's kind of like, oh, I don't know what's going on up here. Sometimes it works, kind of having that ambiguity, but sometimes when it's a darker scene like this, I feel like you might want to light it up a little bit, and then you can always make another layer and paint on top of it. So I did that, and then there was another layer here below it. So what's funny, I actually painted a little bit first, and then I realized, oh my god, how dark this is. And then I brightened it up. But this layer right here, this is where I just painted some more like blood and like fixed some certain areas. Like I painted a little bit here, painted a little bit up here, put some blood on these people as well. And I pretty much just used a basic chalk brush, nothing crazy. And oh my god, I'm just looking at this right now. Look at this. Oh no, this still is going through the floor. Ugh, it's too late to fix it now. But yeah, I need to fix that. But we'll ignore this for now. Let's just ignore this for now, okay? And then this folder right here had all my pretty much adjustment layers, I want to say. Let's hide this. Let's hide all of it. Okay. So this is what it looked like at first. Here I have an ambient occlusion pass. And what ambient occlusion was doing was just adding like little subtle shadows here and there. Like for example, the shadow underneath this dude's leg. And like stuff like this. You see that? Right? And usually I put it on, multiply. In this case, I left it on 100%. But usually I like, bring it down a little bit. I'm not sure I did not do that, but yeah. We had a clown pass here just for like making selections and such. And then here we have some light. This was just a test. This was a diffuse light pass. It was adding a little bit of like highlight on this character right here, which I thought was like really cool. So we had a mist pass right here. And then I used the mist pass and I went ahead and masked certain parts of it. And then, oh, we had the little phone, like she had the little phone up here. The phone was just a cube, and then I put it in Photoshop, and then made another layer of screen, and just painted a little bit glow up here. And then this right here was a multiply layer, where I just darkened this wall a little bit. And then we used a curve slider, just to add some more highlights. And so pretty much the way that I like to do it is that, I'm gonna disable this mask for now. Like I'll make it like really, I think by default it's like this, and I'll just make it like really high up here, right? And then you add a mask to it, enable layer mask, where you're just like masking out stuff and just painting stuff that you want to be shown. So like on the character and like on the wall, the little shelving up here, down here. And honestly, I was done. This was gonna be like my final, but then I ended up experimenting with the color lookup layer, and I kind of liked this little blue glow, because then at this point it kind of felt like, okay, it's coming, it's probably a night scene, we got some light around it, and I felt like this mood looked a lot I mean, I feel like they both look really good, but at that time I was feeling this mood a little bit more, so I ended up just going for that. um, but yeah, that's pretty much it, you guys. Just a quick one for y'all. All right, guys, so that should be all for today. Thank you so much for coming by and watching this video. In the next video, I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I have another piece that I worked on that I want to break it down, and then we'll just go from there. Other than that, I appreciate every single one of you guys being up here, and I appreciate the support. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers, so if you've watched this so far, definitely hit the subscribe button and share this video with your friends. You know, like it and just get the word out. You know, we're here to create an awesome environment concept art community on this channel, so you know, definitely come back for more. There'll be more stuff that'll be posted as well, and yeah, I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.